So before we get started, we'd love to share our rap song introduction video, and we hope you enjoy.
Yeah, okay, organic base, this is what you need. Take you to the future, live a life that can be disease-free. All these toxins are taxing on our bodies, no doubt. All these GMOs and these processed foods we can live without. Yeah, wanna see you live a long time. Contaminants in our water and our food supply. From the meat to the dairy and the fish, what a shame. Not realizing that my insides were inflamed. Hold up, I know it's hard to digest, that's right. I found an organic plant-based website. I even got the app, yo, this is where it's at. Promoting a healthy life, it's time to put it on the map. Assuaged, trust you don't wanna miss. It's time for you to be your best, be your healthiest. Assuaged, trust you don't wanna miss. It's time for you to be your best, be your healthiest. Hey, Assuaged, let's go.
Good evening. Tonight we will talk to you about vitamins B12 and B9 and the effects on pregnant women who do not get enough vitamins B12 and B9. Our student speakers this evening are Crystal Rylowicz, Maria Reyes, Kaylnn Gabriel, Saiki, Svitlana, Mathany. Our slide contributors include Crystal Rylowicz, Maria Reyes, Kaylnn Svitlana, Mathany, Gabriel, Saiki, Jayashree Salian, and Raven Moore. We would like to thank you, Restream, for supporting our student team. Restream's powerful multi-platform streaming capabilities have broadened our reach, connecting us with diverse communities across various social media platforms. Our message of public health and wellness now reaches those who need it the most. Today, our agenda will include the introduction, including vitamin B12 overview and folic acid overview. Number 2, recommended intake and the absorption of vitamin B12. Number 3, the deficiency of vitamin B12 that includes the importance during pregnancy and symptoms of deficiency. And lastly, number 4, we will discuss the diagnosis and test that include the treatment and dietary sources, case study, and prevention and education.
Introduction. Vitamin B9 and B12 are important during the pregnancy for the unborn baby. These vitamins provide energy for the mother and provide nutrients to the baby and prevent neurological abnormalities. Role of vitamin B9. It helps tissues grow and cells work properly. Role of vitamin B12. It helps the body break folate down and uses the folate to create new proteins and form healthy red blood cells. Hemoglobin helps prevent anemia. Together, all the vitamin Bs help with the body's metabolic processes. Both B9 and B12 promote healthy embryo development and decrease the risk of neural tube defects, especially spina bifida. Vitamin B12 overview. Vitamin B12 is known as cobalamin and is a water-soluble vitamin and is found in poultry and dairy products. It plays a crucial role in forming RBCs and DNA, as well as brain development and nerve maintenance. Since B12 is bound to protein in foods, it has been released so the body can absorb it. B12 supports healthy fetal development and assists in maintaining the nervous system. Pregnant women are advised to take about 2.6 micrograms of cobalamin per day, slightly more than the normal dose of 2.4 micrograms for adults. It comes in supplement forms. Folic acid overview. Folate or folic acid is a natural form of the vitamin B9 that supports healthy cell division and fetal growth. It is found in beans, leafy green vegetables, asparagus, and broccoli. Folate dissolves in water and can be cooked out of foods. It is also found in fortified foods such as cereal, bread, and pasta. Supplements are available, and the recommended dose is 500 micrograms for the first 3 months of pregnancy.
The recommended daily intake of vitamin B12 or folic acid during pregnancy is 600 micrograms each day. A good source of this is prenatal vitamins, which should be started at least 1 month before pregnancy and the first 12 weeks of pregnancy. Other ways to increase daily intake include eating iron-rich foods such as beans, lentils, and rich breakfast cereals, beef, turkey, liver, and shrimp. Factors that affect absorption. Diet, diet influence vitamin B12 absorption because it's in meals. Vitamin B12 absorptions may be limited by B12 receptor abundance. Transcobalamin is produced by salivary glands, mainly protects vitamin B12. If lacking or dysfunctional, vitamin B12 absorption may be affected. Common sources of vitamin B12 deficiency. A severe vitamin B12 shortage damages absorption cells, causing malabsorption. This can be fixed fast using vitamin B12. Low animal protein diet causes vitamin B12 insufficiency in many developing nations and lacto-avo-vegetarians. Vitamin B12 insufficiency is often caused by poor nutrition. A deficiency of vitamin B12 can come with a variety of symptoms, including fatigue, headache, depression, pale or yellow skin, mental impairment, inflammation in the mouth and tongue. Vitamin B12 deficiency can cause anemia and happens when your body does not have enough healthy red blood cells. There are several conditions that can cause a vitamin B12 deficiency, including gastritis, pernicious anemia, digestive diseases, surgery, or an alcohol use disorder. Effects on neural tube development. In cases of incomplete or abnormal closure of the neural tube defects may emerge. One example is spina bifida, a condition characterized by the protrusion of the spinal cord and surrounding structures through an opening in the spine. This anomaly leads to varying degrees of paralysis and other neurological complications. An association exists between insufficient vitamin B12 levels and an increased risk of NTDs, such as anencephaly. Anencephaly is a severe neural tube defect wherein a significant portion of the brain's skull and scalp are absent. Inadequate vitamin B12 intake is crucial for preventing such complications during embryonic development. Neural tube development. Effects on neural tube development continues. Neural tube development stands as a pivotal process during the initial phase of embryonic growth. The neural tube serves as a cornerstone of constructing the central nervous system, encompassing both the brain and spinal cord. The proper progression of the neural tube is indispensable for the establishment of a functional nervous system. In cases of incomplete or abnormal closure of the neural tube defects may emerge. One example is spinal bifida, a condition characterized by the protrusion of the spinal cord and surrounding structures through an opening in the spine. This anomaly can lead to varying degrees of paralysis and other neurological complications. An association exists between insufficient vitamin B12 levels and an increased risk of NTDs, such as anencephaly. Anencephaly is a severe neural tube defect wherein a significant portion of the brain, skull, and scalp is absent. Inadequate vitamin B12 intake is crucial for preventing such complications during embryonic development.
Importance during early pregnancy. Vitamin B12. In the first trimester of pregnancy, vitamin B12 is essential for significant contributions to fetal growth and development. It plays critical roles in DNA synthesis, neurological function, and the formation of red blood cells, crucially impacting the development and function of the nervous system. Folic acid. Folic acid is vitamin B9 and is vital for DNA synthesis and repair, playing a crucial role in the rapid cell division during early embryonic development. Maternal health impact. Pregnant women with vitamin B12 deficiency risk spontaneous abortion, recurrent pregnancy loss, low birth weight, and intrauterine growth restriction. Finkelstein et al., 2015. Newborns, typically asymptomatic at birth, may show clinical signs of B12 deficiency at 4 to 6 months. Reichel, Hajabadi et al., 2022. This includes developmental delay, muscular hypotonia, irritability, regression, feeding difficulties, failure to thrive, tremors, and seizures. Symptoms of deficiency. Malabsorption might cause deficiency symptoms within 2 to 5 years. They include hematological, affecting the blood. Blood cell count was low, hemoglobin was high. Neurological, problems like erectile failure and bowel or urinary incontinence. Neuropsychiatric, including dementia, psychosis, delirium, mania, depression, and Alzheimer's. Symptoms of deficiency include anemia, depression, neuropathy, dementia, joint pain, lethargy, hair loss, and glottis.
Diagnosis and testing. Blood tests. Serum folate level, a blood test measuring the concentration of folate in the blood. Serum vitamin B12 level measures the amount of vitamin B12 in the blood. Complete blood count, CBC. MCH, mean corpuscular hemoglobin. Abnormal MCH levels may indicate vitamin B12 or folate deficiency. Treatment and supplementation. Options for addressing vitamin B12 and folic acid deficiency include improving diet, treated with injections or tablets, taking B12 tablets between meals or injections for life. Folic acid tablets need to be taken for 4 months. The importance of supplements and dietary changes. Nervous system issues, infertility, heart problems, pregnancy complications, and birth defects. Dietary sources. Foods rich in vitamin B12 and folic acids include the following. Vitamin B12 can consist of salmon, cod, milk, cheese, eggs. Folic acids can consist of broccoli, spinach, Brussels sprouts, brown rice, and asparagus. And then encouraging a balanced and nutritious diet. The body needs 0.2 milligrams of folic acid a day. The body needs 0.0015 milligrams of vitamin B12. And this can be accomplished by eating breakfast, eating fruits and vegetables, eating more fish, planning meals ahead of time, and supplements as necessary.
Case study. Reyes et al. 2022 associated vitamin B12 deficiency in pregnancy with increased risks of neural tube defects and adverse pregnancy outcomes. Additionally, Zizel et al. 2013 found that folic acid deficiency could result in neural tube defects, other birth defects, impaired fetal growth, and developmental delays. A pregnant woman displaying fatigue, breathlessness, and weakness was diagnosed with megablastic anemia due to low levels of vitamin B12 and folic acid, leading to enlarged immature red blood cells. Nutritional deficiency pose risks such as preterm birth and neural tube defects for the woman. Prescribed vitamin B12 and folic acid supplements enhanced her condition with ongoing medical monitoring, ensuring the baby's health. Deficiencies in these vitamins during pregnancy significantly impact maternal and fetal health, emphasizing the importance of adequate intake for a healthy pregnancy and reduced risk of adverse outcomes. Prevention and education. Both overeating and undereating can lead to negative results for the fetus, including chronic illnesses and obesity. Therefore, healthcare professionals provide pregnant women health education on nutrition can prevent negative health outcomes. Dietitians, dietetic technologists, interns, and nutritionists teach pregnant women about nutrition, although generally just for high-risk pregnancies. Compared to PCPs, they talk nutrition more and have better pregnancy outcomes. A healthy diet, nutritional supplements, and a variety of vitamins during pregnancy have been the focus of public health efforts in many countries. These efforts have helped lower the number of preterm births and babies with low birth weights.
And now we're going to switch it over to the questions. So we're going to have all the students participate. Oh, my apologies. There's a whole slide before.
Recommendations for pregnant women. A balanced diet, such as eating foods with high vitamin B12 and folic acids like salmon, eggs, milk, broccoli, spinach, and much more. It's important to be taking supplements, taking vitamin B12 supplements, and taking folic acid supplements. Tablets. Tablets for vitamin B12 may need to be taken between meals, and tablets for folic acid may need to be taken up to 4 months. Injections. Vitamin B12 injections may be necessary to improve deficiency or
Injections. Vitamin B12 injections may be necessary to improve deficiency for life. Now we're going to open it up for the questions and student discussion. All of our students will be participating in reviewing the questions. The first question is there a genetic link for an unborn baby to be born with a neurotubal defect? Neurotube defects, NTDs, is unborn babies have a genetic component influenced by multiple genes and environmental factors, including maternal folate levels, Family history can increase risk, but genetics alone don't guarantee. Genetic counseling can provide personalized risk assessments and guidance. Does anybody want to add on to the first question? I can start off by saying that prior to this PowerPoint and research, I had no idea about the effects that could be caused to pregnant women. So it was very interesting, and knowing that family history can increase risk made it more intriguing, because I feel like a lot of people don't take supplements on their day-to-day, but maybe something like this and being aware of it might push people to want to take vitamins or supplements.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think there's a link for the unborn baby to be born with neural tube defects. In that, vitamin B12 and folic acid, they are integral, and they play an essential role in DNA synthesis. So anything that actually affects the synthesis of DNA most likely will have, because DNA is actually is the basis, is actually the what would I use now? They are the basic foundation for life, because they are the first steps in terms of the chemical integrity of one's entire genetic system. So what happens is that if we have a situation where DNA is not being synthesized properly, most likely there's going to be a defect, or there's going to be a genetic disruption in one form, but it's going to be a generational stuff. So what we see for pregnant women at the initial phase is just a structural part of it, where there's a defect in the neural tube. But subsequently, for I think research is being still conducted to actually go deep into it to see if there's a genetic predisposition in having it in subsequent generation.
Thank you for sharing. Is there anyone else that wants to add on before we move on to the second question?
Yes, I will say that we now have a family history in my family. Um, my father was in Vietnam and exposed to Agent Orange, and they still do not have all the evidence that they need to link neural tube defects with Agent Orange, but they are finding more research is making the link. Um, I am my father's third out of 6 children. His previous 2 daughters did not have any babies born with NTDs. I, however, did. I had 2. And then my father's fourth daughter has 2 boys with it. And there's no genetic link on the mom's side of the family or the dad's before I had children. And so the only thing that they can think of is relating back to the Agent Orange. But they don't understand why my 2 sisters didn't have kids with it. They also have a different mother. So their genetic makeup was a little bit different too. And the thing is, before I got pregnant, I was taking daily vitamins, folic acid, and it still didn't matter. God blessed me with 2 children with NTDs, and my sister's boys have it worse. So you really have to be careful and treat yourself like you are very precious. Don't be having eating disorders and starving yourself trying to have babies, because it's just going to make it worse on them. And I didn't go through any of that. So the magic mystery is still out there, why some of us had babies this way and some did not. But genetic testing is definitely, if it's offered to you, I would recommend it.
Thank you, Crystal, for sharing. Anyone else want to add on? Or if not, we can move on to the next question. All right. So the second question is, can I be vegan or vegetarian and still get enough vitamin B12? Yes, it's possible to be vegan or vegetarian and still get enough vitamin B12, but it requires careful planning and consideration of alternative sources or supplements. Vitamin B12 is primarily found in animal products, so individuals following a vegan or vegetarian diet may be at risk of deficiency if they don't actively seek out alternative sources. And I'm going to open it up for our student discussion if anyone wants to add on to that.
I will say, I know for my athletes, if I do have some vegan or vegetarian athletes, I still try to tell them to make sure that they're getting enough vitamin intake, iron intake, protein, because you're not eating meat and stuff like that. They give you that automatic, like, protein and all those vitamins. So I do tell them to take, like, multivitamins, or to make sure that they have every vitamin that they need also in their diet, because also being vegan or vegetarian is still something that you still have to maintain, just because you're not getting those quick sources of vitamins. So, but you could still definitely get enough of the source. I would definitely say just keep taking the multivitamins.
I'll add on to Kaylnn. I agree. There's always other ways. I think some of the slides mentioned some of the foods that you can include in your diet to increase those levels. So that would definitely be helpful for individuals who are vegan or vegetarian, especially because you always hear, or at least I've always heard, either on shows, in hospitals, and any other healthcare fields that I've been in, that these individuals are always at risk of not even just vitamin B12 deficiency, but even iron and stuff like that, like Kaylnn was saying. So it's always good to just keep track of what it is you're consuming so that you don't fall into that category of being at risk and getting, anything else that could affect your health in the long run.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I also think since if you are going through a path and say you are not going to you want to go through the vegan path, you should also look for other ways to actually help you boost your vitamin B12 level, because essentially vitamin B12 is mainly gotten from animal sources. And since it's gotten from animal sources, taking supplements will actually help at least. But then you have to be proactive about it. You have to take your supplements. Some of them can be through injections and stuff. So at least other forms of ways are there for you to get vitamin B12, instead of the usual eating of those food that you are actually avoiding. So I think taking the supplements and actually be on your game is essential.
I do agree with you that it is important to be taking supplements. And as you mentioned, the vitamin B12 injections. Both my parents are vegans, and my dad got really sick, but he was recommended that either he take vitamin B12 injections, or otherwise he needed to supplement his food with other sources. And since it is really hard, as you stated, that most of the vitamin B12 comes from meat, that he starts putting scoops of nutritional yeast into all of his foods, because though nutritional yeast has been fortified with vitamin B12. So that's one of the best ways that his primary care provider had recommended he actually increase his intake of vitamin B12 without having to actually take the vitamin B12 injections.
Thank you. That was very informative. And I think I've never heard of, yeast and other stuff. So that's a cool alternative too, opposed to just vitamins if that's not your thing. Because I take vitamins and I'll forget them every now and then. So that might be a little bit better for individuals like me. Okay, now we're going to move on to question number 3. What are key roles of vitamin B9, folate, and B12 in the development of a healthy pregnancy? Vitamin B12 is important for maintaining the health of your nervous system, as well as help prevent spina bifida and other spinal and central nervous system birth defects in your baby. Some key roles include neural tube development, cell division and DNA synthesis, red blood cell formation, and prevention of anemia. And I'll open up our student discussion in case anyone wants to add on to that question.
I totally agree. The role of vitamin B12 and folic acid in pregnancy cannot be overemphasized. As a matter of fact, they are really, really crucial. They are important because the fetus coming up, especially within the first 3 months, that's when you start having development of different organs, and they need actually, especially the brain, the central nervous system actually develops as very early in pregnancy. And without vitamin B12 and folic acid, because they are actually helping in the synthesis of DNA. DNA is actually, as I said before, is the building block of life. So in the absence of effective DNA synthesis, you now have organ issues, these organs not forming well, and that's where they come up with incomplete closure of the neural tube. Then you also have issues with the brain and anencephaly. So issues like that come up together and causing miscarriages, causing early even stillbirths. So those are some of the things. Vitamin B12 plays a crucial role in the development of the fetus, and actually also help with the mother also, because the mother actually, most we've seen in cases of pregnancy, has a lot to do with anemia. Most of the time their blood levels, because they're actually sharing most of their blood with the growing fetus. So most times they need increased blood, their blood to increase in their bloodline, not just for red blood cells. They need it also for white cells also. So most times all these things are being formed via DNA synthesis. So there's ongoing. That's why at the end of the day, if they are lacking vitamin B12 or folic acid, they end up with megaloblastic anemia, so that the red cells are not fully matured. That's why because that's megalo. They become so big, they're large. So I think the role of vitamin B12 and folic acid, as I earlier emphasized, is crucial, and is really, really important for the development of both the fetus and also for the mother.
I will chip in and just add that with my family having 4 individuals, my youngest daughter, who will be 18, was never physically diagnosed with it, but even now, as almost an adult, she's having chiropractic issues because they didn't want to pay attention to the family history. But my oldest daughter is wheelchair bound. She got one of the more severe types of spina bifida, and as soon as she was born, I had to have her C-section because as soon as she was born, within 4 hours, she had to have her back closed up. Now, both of my nephews, they're wheelchair bound, but they have special braces. They can somewhat walk, but not for too long. So, and they will always have to wear diapers. My daughter will always have to wear diapers because where the spina bifida is, they have no control over their bowels and bladders. So it is very imperative that even before you hit 18, it's always recommended that when you start your period, especially if you're a young woman, you begin taking vitamins every day, and especially get that extra folate, because you never know what is going to happen. And in an instance, if you're adopted, you don't know your genetic history. And so if you go and you have a baby, and at 20 weeks for your ultrasound find out, guess what? Your baby is going to be born with this. It's a hard decision to make because not all babies can be operated on while the mother's still pregnant. My girls were not, and my two nephews were not. So it does make it very difficult, and you're in for the long haul. So you must take care of yourself when you hit 11, 12, 13, and continue to eat properly and receive medical care because you're not just hurting yourself, you're hurting your babies as well.
Thank you everyone for sharing. I think we're gonna move on to the last question, which is what types of foods contain vitamin B9 or folate? These foods include beans, leafy green vegetables, asparagus, broccoli, cereal, bread, and pasta. So to add on to what Crystal was saying regarding the other question, I think it's important not only just to take vitamins, but if you don't have access to that, right? Like we have to consider different factors. Not everyone has the access, the resources, the money, things like this, where you can obtain these vitamins through other options such as food that you might have access to is a good option or alternative. Especially because a lot of when you're younger, you might be more aversive to not liking foods, but then as you get older and you understand that there's benefits associated to them, you're more likely to try them out. Especially because I work in a children's department, and majority of those kids, it's very few of them that like vegetables or certain specific types of foods. So getting their vitamins, like we're discussing, might be harder when you're younger. But considering the different options available, right? Like some parents provide them vitamins because they know that they don't eat those type of foods, and then others that eat those type of foods might not eat the vitamins. So it kind of helps balance out options that are available.
Yeah, also another aspect one would need to actually take into consideration is that sometimes some people do what they do a gastric surgery, and they end up taking some part of their stomach out, and they should be aware that once they do that, they and most of the time, because once they cut off a part of the stomach where you have the intrinsic factors being produced, those intrinsic factors are actually necessary, they are actually vital for the absorption of vitamin B12, most especially. So people should take into consideration whenever they do surgery or whenever they do anything that has to do with taking part of their stomach out, they should always, because sometimes they forget and they just feel, oh, maybe, especially those that decide to do weight loss surgery, they take off the part that actually has the intrinsic factor that produces intrinsic factors. And intrinsic factors is crucial for the digestion of vitamin B12. Without intrinsic factors, whatever you are taking in, especially any form of vitamin B12, is not being absorbed.
Another thing that I would like to mention that I think many women don't really understand is that also taking alcohol, it actually prevents the absorption of folates, and the alcohol breaks down the folate, so it actually just goes right through the body without it actually being absorbed in how it's supposed to be. And that's important not only just prior to pregnancy, but I know I have some friends who've gotten pregnant. They say that their doctor always tells them that it's okay if they have a glass or two of wine, but I don't think that they actually get educated on the fact that if they do have a glass of wine or even two, that they are preventing proper absorption of the folates.
Thank you everyone for sharing. That was very informative, and that concludes our student discussion and the questions. Crystal, you're muted. I saw she was trying to talk.
At this time, Assuaged Foundation and our student interns would like to thank you for joining our student team regarding vitamins B12 and B9 and the effects on pregnant women. Please follow us on social media and enjoy your evening. Thank you.